When I think about my hero, I think about my younger cousin Sayer. And the reason is, whenever I look at him, I see so much potential. I see so much untapped ability, untouched, untainted, unjaded by the world that's all around him. I see hope whenever I look at him. I just imagine what kind of person he might be able to become. I see a lot of myself also. I think that's another reason I see him as my hero, because he reminds me of myself. I don't know. For me, I didn't think about the normal everyday hero. Like a lot of times, people consider soldiers heroes or something like that. Well, I don't know. I'm a soldier myself, so a lot of times I wonder am I really a hero? And when I see my cousin, I just that for sure. I don't see anything besides a hero in him. So
Charles Bukowski is my hero because he taught me how to write. Not just writing for fun, but writing to make someone feel something. And he taught me that you don't have to write about just the good, because life isn't a fairy tale. There is good and there is bad, and you don't always have to write about just the good things. You can write about the bad, and you can write about the sad, and you can write about heartbreak and lust and love, and you can really write about anything. You just have to write about a feeling. And that is all that Bukowski writes about. He taught me that, well, yes, the world isn't the most wonderful place, and no one's going to really hand you anything. Yeah, you have to work for what you get, but you can take what you get, and you can make it work. Bukowski taught me how to write. I used to write just fairy tale endings, because I thought that was how you wrote. That was all you could write about, because that was all people wanted to hear. But since discovering Charles Bukowski, I've realized that there's so much more that you can write about. And not everyone wants a fairy tale, because some people want the real and the raw. And that's what Charles Bukowski does. He writes about the real and he writes about the raw. And he doesn't hesitate to show people the bad, because that's what life is sometimes. Sometimes it is the bad, and sometimes it's the good. And it's about life is about appreciating the good and just accepting the bad. Making the bad seem good. Making the bad seem beautiful. And Bukowski can make even heartbreak and lust sound like it's amazing. And every time I read some of his work, he makes me feel something. Whether it's love or heartbreak, he makes you feel something. And that's what I want to be as a writer. I want to make my audience feel something. Because to me, and to Bukowski as well, writing is about a feeling. It's not just something that you do. It is part of you, and it is part of your soul, and it is something that the world cannot take away if you don't let them. And with all that goes on in the world, sometimes you just have to cling to your writing, because it is the one thing that you know for certain. It's the one thing that you know will always be with you. And that, to me, is why Charles Bukowski is my hero, because he taught me that life is many things. Life is pain, life is joy, life is love and lust and heartache and heartbreak. But most of all, life can be wonderful. and you just have to appreciate it. My hero is Maria Fernanda. She was my guidance counselor in middle school. I have really bad anxiety, and she used to help me with dealing with it. I also used to be really insecure about myself. I used to think that it was me against the world, and I would put myself down. I hated how I looked, talked, and everything about me. She inspired me to be more confident in myself. She taught me how to be less nervous and essentially fake my confidence. I used to have really bad anxiety attacks, and she would just be there for me. Sometimes we didn't even talk, and we just sat in her office in silence until I was calm. Miss Maria was completely selfless. She always wanted to help others. She was always smiling, and her happiness always made those around her happy. I think that's what I admire most about her, is that even though she goes through her own problems and that she has other things to deal with, like she would just always want to help others and put herself last, so she would put others and her friends before herself. I really appreciated how she would be so nice to people. She used to always tell me that being nice to others would make yourself happy in return, because I used to be really mean. And she was just always so positive, and I really appreciated that. Sometimes she would just listen to me, and in middle school not many people did that. And whenever I was having a bad day, I knew I could count on her to just make me happy, and I never really had to tell her about my problems. She just took my mind off of it, and she just always knew how to make me smile and make me laugh. She's my hero, and she just really inspired not only me, but my friends and my family. And she's just really confident in herself, and she doesn't let others or herself put herself down. And I just hope that one day I can be like her and just see the good in myself.
So there are two real reasons why I liked Spider-Man as a kid, as my favorite superhero. I'd say the first was because I was really interested in drawing. So in all the Spider-Man cartoons and comics, there's a lot of foreshortening. So when he's shooting the web from his hand, the hand is very close to your to where the camera or where the perspective of the audience is, and his body is normally receding, or it's vice versa. So there's a lot of dramatic kind of perspectives, and as someone that was interested in art and drawing, just really interested me because I could kind of learn how to draw perspective from a young age based on these cartoons and kind of what I learned until I could just draw them on my own from my head. The second reason I was really interested in Spider-Man has more to do with kind of the construction of the character in relationship to villains. So, Spider-Man's had a lot of different villains, just like every other superhero. But the ones that I found the most interesting were the variations of themselves. So that was Venom, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I think it was Poison or something. But it was the other red version, basically, of Venom. And the reason why I found these so interesting was because they're symbiotes. and so they're pretty much like parasites. So their relationship to Spider-Man is they're a variation of him, almost like a dark side of him, but they were manifested in completely different characters, and they relied on the existence of Spider-Man to exist. So the way I kind of saw this was kind of a humanizing aspect of Spider-Man. So, like any person, Spider-Man wasn't beyond being human. He had good sides of him and bad sides to him as well. And these are kind of represented in kind of an almost bipolar manifestation of Venom, or the other guy, Poison, I think. I need to remember his name. But anyway, so I think this was a kind of a trait that not many other, or I can't think of any other superheroes that had this, but they had an external character that was their kind of dark side, and the fact that they're always battling with this dark side of themselves to kind of retain an order, and it was never really fully resolved. I thought it was really interesting and very unlike other superheroes, and it definitely attracted me to the idea of Spider-Man and his universe. That was kind of on this constant battle with other forces and stuff, but one of those forces was always himself.
Alright, the person that I look up to the most, the person that I see as a hero, is Justin Bieber. And the reason for that is because he influences me a lot, and he makes me think. There's days where I'm at school and I get confused because I got in an argument with a friend, or I made a mistake, and I just don't know what to do. So whenever I'm on my way to my house through the bus, or whenever I'm at home and I don't know what to do, I just start listening to his music and listening to his lyrics, and I go more into depth and just think, what is he trying to say, or what does it mean? And to me, he's just an idol, an inspiration, not just to me, but to many. I feel like, although he's done a lot of bad, and he has a bad reputation, but it's all good. We need to learn how to forgive and forget. But he's just a big idol to me because one of his lyrics from the song called Purpose, he says, "You're trying to be the best you can be, but that's all you can do." And that just hit me, like it really struck me deep down inside. And it's true, because to me, I see it as your biggest competition is yourself. That's the way I see it in my own eyes. I'm my biggest competition, and I can't beat myself, but I won't lose to myself. That's a fact. And I think he sees it the same way. I feel like he sees himself as his own competition. Yeah, he's an idol. Don't forget.
My hero is Benito Juarez. He is my hero because when he was born, he was an indigenous that lived in Mexico. And in Mexico, at that time, the indigenous people didn't have rights, and were treated poorly. He also didn't speak Spanish, so he decided to go to school and learn Spanish, then went into college and became a lawyer. Years later, he became president and was president for almost 4 terms. While he was president of Mexico, he made it better. He made all Mexicans equal and fought off all other countries that affected Mexico's economy. This makes him my hero because it shows me that even if the whole world thinks that you're worth nothing, that you won't become anything, you can make your own choices and succeed in life. You can become greater than they ever thought you would, and not only become someone, but also do something good for your country or for the world.
My hero is Kurt Cobain because even in the face of anxiety and crippling shyness and other personal adversities. He was able to push through those things and be a great performer.
My older brother Salah is my hero. He's 6 years older than me, and when I was 7 years old and he was 13, he had a brain aneurysm and was had to have brain surgeries, multiple brain surgeries over the course of 2 years, and he was paralyzed for a year, probably a year or almost 2 years, going through physical therapy, and then he eventually started walking again. And now my brother he can't move his toes, but everything else is working fine. He's a teacher. He teaches third grade kids. Yeah, he's my hero because he never complained, and he's been through so many brain surgeries and so many different things, and he is nothing but nice and nothing but sweet, and I don't know, nothing phases him because he's already seen it all. He's my hero, and I think it's very heroic to be able to not complain and not push your problems on other people when all you have are problems.
The hero that I chose was Marjane Satrapi, the author of Persepolis. She was born in Iran in 1969 and lived through the Iranian Islamic Revolution when she was 10. When she was 14, she began to verbally question authorities, so her parents sent her to study abroad alone in Vienna, where she could think and ask freely. She wrote Persepolis in the late 1990s and is still alive today. She lives in France and is still currently writing. I chose her because she wrote relatable and true stories about herself and her family in Iran to combat the single stories told about immigrants and people in different countries in the Western media. Over 1 million people have read Persepolis, her autobiography, and have likely broadened their perspectives because of it. She also spoke out against the banning of the veil in France, stating that it would be the same as forcing people to wear the veil, because in both instances you are dictating women's attire. She's an inspiration for me because I plan on choosing a career involving storytelling in my future, and her fighting to make the world a better place through her writing has influenced me to do the same.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Guerra, and my favorite hero, or one of my heroes of all time, would be Alice Glass, the lead singer of Crystal Castles, which has now been disbanded. But I think she's really important to look at in terms of a strong female and a feminist who is talking about women's issues. She comes from a family of abuse, and that's something that she wrote about a lot in her lyrics and her music. And upon leaving Crystal Castles, it was a duo with Ethan Cath. She talked openly about the abuse that occurred between their relationship. They were dating during the time that they collaborated with their music, and that's something that's very difficult to do and that not a lot of people have done. So I just really appreciate her as a human being, as taking the popularity that she has and using it to benefit the community, to raise awareness, and to really just build this issue and treat this issue with all seriousness. And, that means starting a dialogue and having people start the dialogue with others, their friends and their peers as well.
My hero is Malala, and she's an activist for girls' education. She lived in Swat Valley, Pakistan, where education was banned for girls, but since education was so important to her, she went to school in secret every day, even though it was both illegal and dangerous. She also wrote a blog about her life and what was happening in Swat Valley. The blog provided hope to other girls who were facing similar situations that they could eventually have equal rights to education and overcome the many other issues that they were facing. She was shot at the age of 15 because of her activism, but survived and continues to fight for girls' education. She's an inspiration to me because she has accomplished so much at such a young age, and her stand for education has made me realize how lucky I am to have access to an education and that I used to take it for granted. Women's rights are something that have always been important to me, and that's one reason why I look up to Malala. I hope to in some way help her with her mission of providing girls all around the world with access to an education and to continue to fight for women's rights and equality.
My hero is DJ Khaled, and he is a producer, and he makes beats for music, and he influences me by making different Snapchats, saying like encouraging words and different like speeches and stuff, and like just all around having a good positive attitude, and saying like basically like one of his Snapchats were saying, "Stay away from they," and that really because he keeps on saying like, "Stay away from they keep on trying to hide the keys from us," and that's really influential because it's like you gotta stay away from they to like reach success, because not all of the keys are gonna be right in front of you all at once, so you gotta find those keys like so that because they're hiding them and you gotta find them. So I mean, I guess he's just really influential, and it makes a big impact on me because every day he keeps on posting every day, just motivating everyone and having a good positive attitude, and always like, you know, success is the only way. You gotta strive for success. We the best. He like whenever he says we the best, it just makes like whenever I'm like down, he says we the best. I look up on his Snapchat, he says we the best. It just brings me up. It's like, I think I'm the best, you know? Another one. Like, you gotta just make better choices. Another choice. Another better choice. You know, it's just, I don't know, but he's really influential and really motivational, and he means a lot to me. So it'll be great one day to actually meet him, because that'll be a really, really big point in my life where I can meet one of my heroes. So yeah. Another one.
Audrey Hepburn is my hero because she didn't take advantage of her fame. Even after becoming a world-renowned actress and winning an Emmy, Grammy, Tony, and Academy Award, she continually helped people less fortunate than her. She was an ambassador for UNICEF and helped children who are living in some of the poorest communities have a better life. When I think of her, I not only see her great talent, but I also see somebody who built off of their fame to better the world. When the world looks at her, they mostly see somebody who is a pretty actress, not one of the most selfless people. She was presented with the Presidential Medal of Freedom a month before she died of cancer. And to me, the fact that she gave so much, even while she was going through her own health problems, shows so much about who she is. I believe that she is somebody we should all model our lives after. She pursued her passion and what she loved, but then found her ways to give less fortunate children those same opportunities. She didn't let what she was going through in her life affect her ability to help people. She has shaped how I want to live my life and has shown me what is important in it. She once said, "As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others."